Hello all, this is Sky Highway, and today I'm going to discuss one of the most popular collectible toy lines of the 80s, M.U.S.C.L.E, or, if you're into tongue twisters, millions of unusual small creatures lurking everywhere. Boy, that was a mouthful. M.U.S.C.L.E figures originated in Japan and had their own cartoon series and comic book, but when the figures became popular enough to get moved over to the States, the cartoon and comic stayed because it was deemed too violent for American audiences. Originally called Kinkeshi, M.U.S.C.L.E figures were rebranded by Mattel and sold in 4, 10, and 28 packs. With no story or characters besides the leading two, Mattel opted to market the toys based on their collectability. But I have a lot more to say about these guys, so let's get right into it. I've always been interested in M.U.S.C.L.E figures, and when I saw one sitting on the shelf at Krypton, I knew I had to pick it up. This was about a year ago, and I noticed something great about M.U.S.C.Ls right away. Unless you want them mint in package, there are no accessories or extra parts to worry about. This is great because when you buy them, you know you're getting the whole thing. Nothing to worry about. Or is there? A common problem is dust and grime, but that's standard for any rubber toy. This is easily remedied with some soap and water. Light discoloration is also a problem, especially with flesh-colored M.U.S.C.Ls, but this can also be fixed by some soap and water. One of the worst problems that a figure can have is an ink stain or writing on the foot. While I don't particularly care about writing on the foot, a stain on the body of the figure is pretty annoying, and the worst part is there's no good way to clean it. The dye soaks deep into the rubber and doesn't come out. You'd think it couldn't get worse than that, but unfortunately it does. The following tale comes from the University of M.U.S.C.L.E, a great blog if you're interested in collecting M.U.S.C.L figures. Now, I said before that you really have nothing to worry about when you buy these guys, but that's unfortunately not entirely true. An eBay seller, already considered pretty sketchy by the community, tried to sell a fully dyed M.U.S.C.L figure, calling it an oddball copper/bronze figure and trying to pass it off as a factory error. It gets worse, however. When M.U.S.C.L figures began to dip in popularity, Mattel introduced new colors, including red, orange, green, blue, and purple. These colors, especially purple, are highly sought after, and the sketchy seller tried to make a quick buck off the demand for the purple variant of certain figures. Many collectors bought extremely rare purple figures from him, only to find out that they had purchased blue figures that had been dyed purple. It's really depressing to see scummy people pollute a hobby, especially when said hobby is as lighthearted as toy collecting. If you want to hear more about this, I've linked the original article in the description, so you can check that out if you want to. Despite all this, my experience collecting M.U.S.C.L figures has been very positive, but I've been collecting them very passively, only buying them when I see them for a good price, and never seeking them out on eBay. My first figure was number 116, which is stained, as you saw earlier, but I didn't care because I didn't have any others at the time. Flash forward a few months, and I get 4 more. As I said, I'm a very passive collector. A 106, a blue 199, a red 123, and a purple 47. Each figure gets its number from a poster featuring every figure alongside their respective number. It makes you wonder how figures would be classified had the poster not existed. Anyways, a few months ago, I went to a store while on vacation and was surprised by their excellent M.U.S.C.L selection. I came home with 2 figures, a 151 and a 181. This was the only time where I was able to actively pick out the figures for myself. My most recent pickup includes 6 figures, a 233, a 172, a red 44, a red 56, a magenta 96, and an orange 102, my favorite of the lot. Although I don't feel the need to collect them all, I pick them up anytime I run across them. The draw for me is really the sculpts. They're all so unique and interesting. The problem is that they really don't do anything aside from look cool. Sure, there was a playset, but it was delicate and play was very limited. Mattel also made a belt to store your figures in, but it had the same problems that the playset did. It all comes down to the sculpts of the figures themselves, and if you don't care about those, you won't find any value in the toys. That being said, I love the figures and think they're a lot of fun. They still stand tall as one of the greatest collectibles of the 1980s. Thanks for watching! This video actually has a special reason behind its creation, and that reason is Iconicon, an online toy convention put on by 20 different YouTube channels over the course of 5 days. The content produced was so good, it just made me want to make a video, and here we are. I picked up some new muscle figures this morning, grabbed some pea shoots and the typewriter, and got to work, and this is the result. Sorry if it was a bit random. Anyway, this has been Sky Highway, and this video is dedicated to everyone who made Iconicon 2021 possible.